Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name's Jason Newland and this is Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Please only listen when you can. Safely close your eyes. Very safely. So today, I don't know what that was about, sorry. Today is Saturday the 23rd, I think. 23rd, 18, 19... 23rd, 24th, I can work it out by doing something else. Oh, my birthday's on Tuesday and that's the 26th. So it's Saturday, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, yeah. So, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. So yeah, it's my birthday, Tuesday. I'm just reminding everyone, I don't know why. I shouldn't really keep mentioning it because I'm scared of the flood of cards and gifts I'm going to get. Oh, overwhelming. All them cards. I won't be able to get out my front door. There'll be so many cards. The whole of my whole street will be blocked off with all those cards. I think these days I get about 3 cards, 2 cards max for my birthday these days, maybe 3. I always get one from my dad. Usually get one from my brother. And usually, sometimes I don't, but generally I get one from him. And that's it. Yeah, that's the only guarantees. Sometimes I get one from my other brother, my other sister. But I always get one from my dad. That's the only guaranteed card I get for my birthday. Yeah. What did I dream about last night? It's really weird to call it last night because it was just now, really, because I've only just got out of bed. What's the time? It's 1 minute past 7. I've been up about 18 minutes, I'd say, at the most. Probably about 15, 16 minutes. Long enough to do a whiz and take me tablet, and that was it. And then I got up and read through an email I got from Chloe. And here I am, sitting on my sofa, talking again about very little. It's very overcast today. Very overcast. It's weird. Yesterday was a weird one. The heating came on. It was chilly in here, inside. It was cold inside. Outside, absolutely fine. Weird. It shouldn't be colder inside. I know, it's just... Maybe it's because of the shelter. When I was outside, there was some sun. Although it was mainly cloudy, so there wasn't really a lot of sun. But here... there's a massive tree that kind of blocks most of the sun and the light from getting in. So maybe that's what it is, but... and it feels very cool in here now. Yeah, it's weird. This is strange. It can be warmer outside than inside. But there's no sun inside, is there? No, but... what did I dream about during the night? What did I? I can't remember. Let me just think. Yeah, I can't tell you all my dreams because some of them are just too weird and occasionally erotic. I'm not going to talk about them. Okay, well, what happened was this. I'll tell you then if you want. I met a lady in my dreams. She let me hold her hand. Oh, and yeah, that was it. And I was done for, and it was... couldn't control myself, and I had to apologise. She said, "Why are you apologising?" I said, "Because I'm not going to be any use if you want to take me home and make passionate love." And she said, "Why did you think I wanted to take you home and make passionate love?" I said, "Oh no, I messed up another relationship." And she said, "This isn't a relationship." I said, "But you're holding my hand." She said, "I'm a paramedic. I'm helping you up before you fell over." So, oh. I don't know where I was going with that one. None of that happened. No. What did I dream? Did I dream? What did I dream? I didn't dream about those places that I lived. Because I've got this whole little dream world where it's weird because I'm living in one place, but I have my own place, which is a council place. But I don't like that place because it's shared. You can, there's someone else who's living in the same place. But in reality, I actually have my own flat, which is a proper council one. It was just weird. There's that whole scenario that just replays itself. Oh, I know what I did. I went back working in one of my jobs I used to have in a factory, and I was back there. It does make me think though, because I was in my early 20s, so it's 30 years ago, and I think about people that I used to work with, and I'm pretty sure Terry, was in his 40s. So it would be like an old man now. And people that were in their 50s, which was a few, they might, Arthur, for example, he might not be around anymore. I tell you, one of the funniest, I've talked about this before, but one of the funniest men I ever met was in this factory. And he was a temp, just a temporary, and he came in and we worked together, and he was funny. He was really chilled out, and he was in his 50s, probably 55. Well, man, my age, blimey. Yeah, wow. I'm talking about him being 55 as like really old, and I just realised that's what I'm going to be in a few days, like really old. And I don't think ooh, no, 55's not old. I've just realised. Anyway, this bloke, he's a big bloke, like big, strong man. He looked a little bit like he clearly had a bit of a past. The way he talked and the way he moved, and there was a certain confidence there, but he was so funny. And he knew Arthur. So Uncle Arthur was how to explain Uncle Arthur without making him sound like a complete knob. I don't know, because I got on well with him, but I didn't as well. I got on really badly with him, but we also sometimes we'd see each other out and we'd have a drink together and we got on perfectly. But in work we didn't, for some weird reason. So we'd end up shouting at each other, and he became a supervisor, and I used to just laugh at him, and because we were the same level in 1989, because I moved to London for, how long was I there? October, November, December, January, February, March. So I was there for 6 months, from 89 to 90. 6 months where I was just living in a room in London. That was kind of still my favourite period of being in London, though, because it was all new. Didn't know anybody. Everything was kind of fresh. Even the air felt fresh, which it wasn't, because I was in London. The air's never been fresh in London. I think you'd have to go quite high up. Yeah, you'd have to fly into the sky. Fly into the sky. You know how it feels. Yeah, that was quite a nice period. It was a bit boring, I'll be honest. It was a bit boring because I didn't have hardly any money, so I couldn't really enjoy the experience of being in London. I mean, there are things you can do in London that, well, they used to be free. I don't know if they are now, but things like the museums and stuff. Standing outside the houses of the palace. Going to sometimes there's concerts and stuff in Hyde Park. and also going to the parks, so there's lots of places. There are places you can go which doesn't cost you money other than the travel to get there. And back then, travelling on the tube was really, really cheap. The rent was really, really cheap. It wasn't really, because I lived in a little town before that, and the rent was about £30 a week. I went there and it was probably about £40 a week, £35 a week. There wasn't a lot of difference. It was very kind of similar, maybe a little bit more, but not a lot more. I'm pretty sure I didn't pay £40 a week. Probably about £30, £35. So it was relatively similar. Like now, it's night and day. It's it's daytime now, but let's not be literal. It's absolutely I couldn't live in London now. I wouldn't be able to afford to even rent a room, even if I was working. It'd be it just I wouldn't be able to do it. Sort of moving from here to there, which is ironic because I'm in Essex, and moving to Essex was a step up for people living in London. It used to be. It often was the goal to move out of London and to move to Southend or to Romford or to Hainault or to Colchester or to Chelmsford or to, I don't know, there's so many different. Essex is one of the biggest counties in the country, so it's a huge area. In comparison to the UK, to England, I say huge area. I mean, I'm sure people in America travel. That's some people travel maybe that far just to get to the shops, go all the way. It's amazing that some people travel like 2 hours to get to work, and that's just standard. 2 hours will get you to the other side of the country here. Tiny little place. I'm surprised we were ever discovered. Honestly. It's like, it must have been people living here. I reckon this country, this plot of land, should we call it, was left undisturbed for a long, long time because it's so out of the way. Did you know that, I think it's Isle of Man, they used to put German prisoners of wars, like during the Second World War, they used to put prisoners of war on the Isle of Man, or was it Isle of Wight? And one of those, it's like, wow. I don't know why, just something, I saw a documentary the other day and I thought it was interesting, and I thought, I'm going to mention that when the right conversation or the right topic arises. I'll just chuck that in as a fact, and that will help me contribute towards the conversation. And I don't know, I just feel more part of society, like I contributed something to the ongoing dialogue about World War II. But having said it, I just realised that it was kind of a bit out of place, really, wasn't it? It didn't really fit in with what I was already talking about. But then I'm thinking, what was I talking about? And then I remember I was talking about the bloke I met. What was his name? Ray. His name was Ray. It's weird. I probably can remember him because of the name Ray Winston, and he reminds me, he was kind of like Ray Winston's size, build, very stocky, strong body, you know. It even looked a bit like Ray Winston. But this is before Ray Winston was, not before he was a star, because he was a star from the 70s. He was in a movie called Borstal. But he wasn't like a big star the way he is Ray Winston. I tell you what, one of my favourite movie stars, English ones, was Bob Hoskins. And I can't believe that he just, when he left the planet, he wasn't an astronaut. When he left the planet, it was almost like, oh, okay. Like nothing. And I don't know, just to me, there was something so lovely about him on screen. I know he played a gangster and not all his roles were nice and cuddly. But it was something like he was like a tough guy, but at the same time gentle and loving and passionate, and it's almost like, you know, you knew that if he was looking after you, he'd keep you safe, but he'd also keep you nice and comfortable as well. What am I talking about? I don't know. I got no idea. I don't know. He just seemed like he'd protect you. Bob. I thought Bob was lovely. Bob Hoskins. Right, back to Ray. So Ray, I tell you this room I had at the time. Oh no. What am I talking? I'm now just remembering the room I lived in back in 1989. Because Ray was a few years later than that. But this room I lived in, and there was, oh, they must have moved out because, yeah. So downstairs was two girls, or two females were down there, and they were, yeah, they both seemed to be really close friends, and they were at University of East London, I think. And then upstairs there was me. There must have been 3 rooms upstairs, because it wouldn't just be 2 rooms, would there? Possibly, I don't know. Seems a bit strange though. Surely there'd be more than 4 rooms to rent in a house. Maybe not. But there was my room, so if you go up to the top of the stairs or whatever, I was up there somewhere. Turn right, turn left. And then I was able to sit on the windowsill. Yeah, there was enough room to sit out on the windowsill, and you know, not in the winter, but in the springtime, as it sort of, you know, between the, because you know, I was listening to the radio last night, and someone was moaning, saying, "Oh, It's now going into autumn, and it'll be winter before we know it. And yeah, but it'll be winter before we know it. But it'll also be spring before we know it, and also be summer again before we know it. So time is doesn't feel like time's going fast in the moment necessarily. I mean, I think some people find time goes very slowly when I'm talking to them. Sometimes I talk, I got this, my friend's husband, and I'll talk and he's yawning and his eyes are closing. And I'm sure that half an hour seemed like probably 4 or 5 hours for him. It's I've been doing that to people for years, talking and watching them trying to hold in a yawn. I don't think it's not always the subject matter, but it might be. But I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that I don't necessarily always have the most interesting voice, possibly the most exciting. Not interesting, that wouldn't be good, because I think I'm relatively. No, I'm quite exciting. I excite myself. Ooh. I don't know what that means. What do you mean you excite yourself? I don't know. You're going to tell us about Ray? You started telling us about Ray and then you just stopped. Okay, Ray. So we worked together a couple of days. It might have just been one day, to be fair, like a Friday. And we got on really well, and he said, "Oh, you going to come to the pub?" And normally I'd say no, because, well, normally I just didn't really have any money to go out, but for some reason I thought, yeah. So we went to the pub. We went to this Irish pub, which was it was around the corner from where I lived. Now, yeah, I'm just trying to think. All right, yeah, I'm trying to place where we worked. So we went into this pub, and we're just sitting there. I remember we were sitting one side of the bar, because the bar went all the way around, so it was quite a big bar. And we were just chatting, and he was telling me stories about Arthur. He knew Arthur, who was the supervisor and my arch enemy at work. Ray, I think, had gone to school with Arthur, so he'd known him forever. And he just went on and just told me about Arthur, told me lots of things about him that he'd got up to over the last 40 odd years. And I was laughing my head off. And then he was telling me stuff. It wasn't all based, aimed at Arthur. There's a few little bits and bobs, but and I contributed and told him some stuff that had happened. But some of the stories, I've talked about this story, and anyone that's listened to me for a long time may remember it. It's about a bloke going into a pub, and he's basically really kicking off. And yeah, so the story, if you remember the story, as I said, it's like, I told that story probably 6 years ago. But it was very funny. And there's also a sadness as well, but like a sadness and a positivity there, because he was going blind. His eyesight was really, really bad, and he was heading towards blindness. And he had his daughter looking after him, helping him out and stuff, and he just, it was weird. There was he was positive, and even he was just as funny whether he was drinking or not drinking, and he had no aggression, nothing. It didn't change him. He just enjoyed having a pint. So we had like probably 4 pints. I was probably drunk, to be honest, but the next day we went into work because we had a Saturdays. We didn't always work Saturday, but that day we did. And Arthur was there, and we were just starting to work, and we see Arthur walk in, and we can't stop laughing. And Arthur's walking up to us, and he's like, "What are you doing, laughing to get on with some work? Do some work." And Ray just tells him to shut up. And Arthur walks away because he doesn't know what to say, because he knows Ray. I mean, he's Ray. Arthur's the reason Ray was working there, because Ray, Arthur's. I think Ray was. I keep saying Ray and Arthur, so I think he probably met Arthur in the pub, and Arthur said, "Well, try and get in our place into the factory, and I'll get you some work, and I'll keep you on and stuff." So Ray said, "Oh, okay." So, they were still friends. It's just he wouldn't take any rubbish from him. And then he left. He was there. He didn't like the job, so he didn't come back. But it was so funny. I met some characters doing that job. I met a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and doing some of the jobs I had. I mean, in London, when I was a security guard, most of the other security guards were African. Most of them. When I worked in the big bakery, most of the people I worked with, when I worked inside the bakery itself rather than in the canteen, most of the people I worked with were from other countries. Probably, I think, India and Jamaica. I think that was the 2 main places. Now, a lot of them already knew me because I was serving them food before. Serving them food, that sounds weird, doesn't it? But I was working in the canteen for a good few months. So most of the people working there already knew who I was. So I got on quite well with the people, but it was very weird because the thing is, from a safety perspective, in a place like that, where if something goes wrong, it can really go wrong. They had the mixers, the bread mixers were the size of this building. I'm exaggerating for the sake of it, but huge, massive. And the miscommunication was kind of ridiculous because it was so loud to start with, so it was hard. But then people were shouting in different languages. So there was one point where I heard shouting, and in the end, someone pulled me physically out of the way of something that was heading towards me. And because all I was hearing was like something I didn't understand what I was hearing, so I didn't figure it was for me. But I was on the floor. I think there was two English speaking people. Well, not English speaking, they all spoke English, but English person there whose first language was English. There's two of us. And it is from a communication point of view, because when it's quiet, I can communicate with anyone, pretty much. And also, even if someone's English isn't, maybe it's not, I can still communicate. I can communicate with people. When I've been abroad, I always manage to communicate with people. Because, I take my time and I'm in no hurry, and I find a way. But when there's a lot of noise, when it's practically impossible. I suppose you can use sign language or, sort of signs, not sign language, but signs to sort of, to tell people stuff. But I don't know if they had that. All I know is I remember coming back because they had a bus, like a private bus coach thing that would go from Walthamstow to Stratford and then to other places. So I'd grab on that because it was free. And this was just for us, the workers. Now, I'd done a 24-hour shift, so I was tired. Tired is not the word. And I did these, I did 1 week where I did 100 hours. So I don't know how many hours that is in a day. 70, 10 hours a day for 7 days is 70. Another 30. So 100 hours, 5 days at 20 hours. So I must have been doing 16 hours or something a day, 2 shifts. And I did once do a 24-hour shift, which was just ridiculous. But I did that with the security as well, because our shifts were 12 hours. I did a 24 hours, fell asleep, got suspended. It's to do 16 hours in a bakery shouldn't really be allowed, just from a health and safety perspective. But I remember I got my biggest paycheck I'd ever had up to that point, and it was cash. Had my tax taken off already as well, in a little brown envelope, as we used to get back in the 90s, or early 90s, late 80s. And I went up to the manager's office to collect my paycheck, or my pay cash. And they were saying, and they were smiling. I said, why? Because apparently I'd earned the most out of anyone else in the factory, because of all the hours I'd done. And I opened it up and I looked at this amount of money, and I'd never seen so much cash. like for 1 week's work, that is. Never, I was used to £100 a week if I was lucky. So to get 250 after tax. In fact, I don't think I'd hardly earn. Okay, I was getting more than £100 in the bakery. I was probably getting about £130, £140 a week. I was paying tax on that. Which seems, I don't know, should we get paying tax on such a small amount? But yeah, that was back then. Yeah, I remember I was travelling on a bus, and it was just surreal because, or this coach thing, because all these voices, and I didn't understand a word that anyone was saying. And I fell asleep, and it was just so weird. Just a weird feeling, like it's like I don't know where I am. I didn't know where I was. It's very strange. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, ooh. Ba ba da ba 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 bam bam bam. The thing is, I think a lot of the people that worked there was a lot of older men working there. I think there's one woman in the whole factory, like in the actual the bakery itself. It was all men, and then there was women working in the administration area, sort of and the catering part. Yeah, no, and the women could have done the job just as well as a man. It wasn't really. It was endurance rather than physical strength, in a sense of. I mean, back then, I think the average woman would have been stronger than me anyway. But it wasn't. What was really weird is they'd never turn anything off. They hated to turn the conveyor belt off if they didn't have to, which meant when stuff was coming off the other end of the conveyor belt and needed to be put into trays, there was very little wiggle room. You might be thinking, what are you wiggling about for? What's wiggling got to do with anything? Well, what I mean by that is, if you miss, if you you can't get it back. Once one falls off the end onto the floor, another one falls onto the floor, and you can't. And because it's fallen onto the floor, you can't get to the position that you need to get the next one off. And I've literally stood there up to my knees in bread rolls because tray after tray is just banging onto the floor until someone stops the conveyor belt. I mean, I don't know why. It's not like I'd want them to stop it for a long time. Just a few seconds. Let me get up to date. Sometimes the brown trays or baskets that the bread rolls we put into, they weren't replaced, so I needed to put the bread somewhere. And so I'd look around and be none left, or someone just taking the ones I had. And there was literally nowhere to put anything. And they just end up on the floor. And I thought that was just such a waste of food. Such a waste. Yeah. I kind of wish I'd stuck with that. There's so many things that I would have changed over the years if I went back. But then one little change could have just transformed my whole life, couldn't it? One little decision, one little tweak or twerk there or here, and my whole world would potentially have been different. So, I mean, if I had stayed there, who knows, I might have ended up, I don't know why, but I might have ended up getting married, having kids, getting a mortgage, you know, having like a normal life. Just because, I suppose, I mean, technically, financially, I was doing all right. I possibly would have been able to afford to get a mortgage on the money I was getting because I was working so many hours. It's weird though, isn't it? Because you think £250 a week, that's £1,000 a month, which is what, £12,000 a year. That was take home. It's such a small amount. But back then, 1991, it wasn't a small amount. It was like really good money. Kind of. It was okay money. And I couldn't really do anything else but work because I was just so knackered doing the job. And so I'd be, you know, obviously part of my days off, if I did get days off. But that was always a choice anyway. I didn't have to do the overtime. It was an opportunity to have some money. So that was just useful to get paid, useful having some cash. My rent was £40 a week at that time. So to be getting over £200 a week, it was definitely pretty groovy. Ooh, groovy. I was thinking of, what was it, Saturday today? Yeah, Saturday. I partly would kind of like to go out, but I haven't really been out since I had to go out for Uncle's sausages. Although I did go out Monday. I got taxied to the doctor's surgery and had my yearly mental health review check thing. So I had a blood test and blood pressure done and got weighed and checked my pulse everything was fine. I don't know about the blood test, but everything was fine. As far as my blood pressure was really good. My pulse rate. The blood pressure is a pulse rate, isn't it? No. Anyway, my blood pressure's really good. Pulse rate's fine. My weight's good. So I've lost some weight a little bit. Just a little bit. I've kept it off anyway. So the weight I got rid of, the fat I reduced, has stayed off. So I'm just under 15 stone now. And it's a much more manageable weight. I just feel I'm so light though, I'm scared I'll blow away. But it's alright, I just feel lighter, which I'm kind of surprised about. Yeah. I don't know what I was talking about then. I'll be honest with you, I'd got no idea what I was just waffling on about. I got my deliveries yesterday. Oh, it was so nice. It's weird because the Amazon bloke delivered it in this huge sack with wheels, like this big box thing with wheels. And I don't think I've ever seen that before. So I'm wondering what the noise is, because I'm hearing this like banging up the stairs. Like, Vinny was barking. I'm just telling Vinny to stop barking, not realising that he's actually barking for a reason. And he's being a good boy, isn't he? For letting me know that someone's coming to my door. Anyway, the bloke knocked on my door and I open it and he's got this big thing on the floor. And he's just stroking this thing, this big thing, and I said, "Oh, hello." He said, "Yeah, you got some packages there." And I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4 different packages. So I had my soap, I had my wet wipes, I had my face wipes, I had deodorant, and oh yeah, I also had 2 packs of dog food as well. So that's 6 different things. So the deodorant I got enough to last me for the year, to the rest of the year. I got enough soap to last me for the rest of the year. I'm trying to think what else. Tea bags. Oh yeah, it's a 7. I got tea bags. I've got, wow, huge amounts of tea bags. So that'll be, I got, yeah, easily enough tea bags to last me to the end of the year. So it's like a couple of thousand tea bags, I think. No, not a couple of thousand. No, I'm exaggerating there. 8. I think there's about 800 tea bags. There was 2 packs of either 2 packs of 5. Yeah, like in the little box things. So I think there's 5 boxes in each, or maybe 6 boxes in each. 5, I think, maybe 6. There's 80 per box. So yeah, that's at least 800 tea bags to get me through to the end of the year. So see how many I need. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have at least 4 cups of tea per day. So I'm trying to work out how many that is. So 4. Okay, if I had if I had 8 cups of tea a day, that would give me 100 days. So if I've had half of that, yeah, so 200 days of tea bags. How many days left in this year? So we're nearly at the end of August. September, October, November, December. 3, 6, 3, what? 3? It's more than 3 weeks, isn't it? No, 30, I'm thinking, aren't I? So 30 days. September, October, November, December. 30. Times by 8. Okay, let's work out another way as I'm falling asleep talking about it. Mathematics is a way for me to fall asleep, yes. Well, 200 days. 30, 60, 90, 120. September, October, November, December. 120. How many did I say I've got? 800. Three, 6. Oh no, but that's for one a day though, isn't it? 3, 30, 60, 90, 120 days, but one a day. But what about 4 a day? 4 a day is for sort of. I reckon 800 will last me until the end of the year. In fact, I reckon as we get to the end of the year, like, moving towards Happy New Year, boo, all that stuff, I will find that letter. I don't know why. Emma. Did I say Emma? Wow. I'm drifting off back to sleep again as I'm talking. So I better just go and get some breakfast. I do bore myself to sleep, genuinely. It's weird, isn't it? It's very, very strange. So yeah, today's Saturday. I'm going to have my breakfast. Then I'm going to watch a bit of telly. I'm then going to take Vinny out for a walk. And I need to edit this and upload this. But outside of that, I don't have much in the way of plans. Not really. Yeah. So I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. And remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. Mr. Croaky Voice says, be careful, be gentle with yourself, because you do deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.